Canto 14. Summary. After our pilgrim gathers the fallen leaves beneath the shrub of the unknown Florentine, he and his guide move on to the third wheel of the seventh circle, a broad wasteland of burning sand. Flakes of flame continually fall down on the three sets of sinners punished in this wheel: the blasphemers, those violent against God directly; the sodomites, those violent against nature, God's property; and the usurers, those violent against nature's goods. The first group contains the fewest number of sinners, but their groanings and shrieks are the loudest. The second group is the most populated, and they walk continuously around the burning plain. The third group we will not meet until Canto 17. This canto deals only with one blasphemer, Capaneus. He is famous for being one of the 7 kings who fought against Thebes. A giant of a man, with an ego to match, he arrogantly railed against Zeus, claiming that even the god could not stop him from destroying Thebes. His blasphemy against Zeus, or Jove as Dante referred to him, was counted as an offense against the true God, and so is punished here. Like the other blasphemers, he must lie on his back, facing up, the direction of the heavens, and suffer under the continual rain of fire. This posture emphasizes his helplessness and impotence to actually fight against God. After a brief interaction with this soul, Virgil enters into a further description of the topography of hell, explaining the source of the 4 rivers, or stagnate pools, stagni, by means of the mythological allegorical statue on the island of Crete. Dante was expecting to see Lethe as well, the other river of the underworld in ancient mythology. But Virgil tells him he will only see it once he leaves this pit, intimating that they will come to it at the top of Mount Purgatory. With these questions discussed, they make their way across the sands. Canto 14. Blasphemers, sodomites, and usurers. Pressed by that love for our shared place of birth, I gathered the sprigs strewn before the shrub, and gave them back to him who had grown faint. From there we came to the end of the wood. Where the second wheel ends, the third begins, and one sees a fearful work of justice. To make these new things abundantly clear, I say that we arrived at a wasteland which had removed every plant from its bed. That grieving wood is to it a garland, as the sorrowful trench is to the wood. There at the utmost border we halted. Composed of sand, barren and thick, the ground was made in the same fashion as that sand once trod under by the feet of Cato. O vengeance of God, how greatly ought you to be feared by everyone who now reads that which was made manifest to my eyes. I saw there many flocks of naked souls, all weeping in their extreme misery, organized, it seemed, by separate laws. Some people were lying supine on the earth, some of them sat all together hunched up, and some walked around continuously. The greatest number were of those that moved, those taking their torment lying down the less, but their tongues were much louder in their grief. Over all that wasteland, falling slowly, swollen layers of fire flakes were raining down, as snow without wind falls in the mountains. Like Alexander in those hot regions of India, seeing flames falling over his troops and landing still whole on the earth, so that he directed his men to stamp upon each flaming ember where it lay, the fire wind being better quenched in this way. So now descended that eternal heat, whence the sand itself flared up like kindling beneath the flint, to double the sorrow. The miserable hands, dancing, now here, now there, never found rest, always brushing from themselves each new blistering ember. I began, Master, you that overcome all things, excepting those hardened demons that came out against us from Dis's gate, who is that mighty one who pays no heed to the fire and lies scornful and scowling, such that the rain seems not to make him wise? At this, the man himself, aware that I had asked my leader concerning him, cried, What I was alive, such I am in death. If Jove should exhaust his blacksmith, from whom enraged he took the sharp bolts of lightning with which I was struck on that final day, or if he should exhaust all the others in shifts at Mongibello, calling out there at the Black Forge, "Good Vulcan, help, help!" as he did at the Battle of Phlegra, and shoot me with all his force, even then he could not have of it happy vengeance. Then my leader spoke with so much power I had not yet heard him speak with such strength. "O Capaneus, unextinguished pride is why you are the more greatly punished. No other torment, only your own rage brings suffering fitting to your fury." Then he turned to me with a kinder face and said, "This was one of the 7 kings who besieged Thebes. He held God in contempt, holds him still, it seems, with little honor. But as I said to him, his spiteful rants are fitting decorations to his chest. Now keep close behind me, and from now on see that you walk not on the scorching sand, but always keep your feet close to the wood." Silently we came to the place where spurts out of the forest a small rivulet, the redness of which horrifies me still. As the brook flows from the Bulacame, and is then shared between the prostitutes, so down across the sand did this one run. The bottom and both its banks were of stone, the margins too on the top of each side, such that I noticed there was a way down. Of all the different things I have shown you, after we entered by means of that gate, the threshold of which is denied to none, nothing that your eyes have been observing will be as striking as the present stream, that quenches every ember above it. These were the words of my leader, such that I begged him to serve me with that dinner of which only the desire had been set. "In the middle of the sea sits a land wasted," he then said, "that is known as Crete, under whose king the world before was chaste. There is a mountain that used to know joy, with its streams and foliage, called Ida. It is now deserted, a thing decayed. Rhea chose it as a trusted cradle for her son, and to hide him the better when he cried, set her people there shouting. In a mountain cave stands a grand old man who keeps his back turned from Damietta and gazes at Rome as in a mirror. His head is formed of fine gold, pure silver forms his arms and breast, then all is of brass to the place where the body branches off. From there downward he is all choice iron, save that the right foot is terracotta, on which more than the other he stands straight. Each part, save the golden head, is ruined by a long fissure that issues forth tears, which, collected, break free of that grotto. Their course cascades down into this valley, forming the Acheron, Styx, Phlegethon, then falls further down this narrow gutter, until that place where farther none can fall, forming Cocytus. You will see what that stagnation is. I will say no more here." And I said to him, "If this present rill descends in this way from the world above, why is it just now seen at this border?" And he to me, "You know this place is round, and yet through all the great length you have come, you have only turned to the left and down toward the bottom, not seeing the full circle. Thus, if something new should appear to us, it ought not fill your faith with such wonder." And I, "Master, where does one find Lethe and Phlegethon? Of one you stay silent, the other you say is formed from those tears." "In all your asking you please me, truly," he answered, "but the boiling red water ought to untangle one of those questions. Lethe you will see, but outside this ditch, in that place where souls come to be washed clean, when repented guilt is taken away." Then he said, "Now is the time to move on from the wood. Make sure to keep close behind. The margins, which are not burned, make away, and above them all the fire wind is spent."